One-on-One on Contact with Eugene Anangwe is brought to you by Tigo.
All right, welcome to One-on-One. A very, very warm greetings, of course, from wherever you are watching us. And for those who are listening to us, many, many thanks for being a part of the program. If you'd like to be a part of the conversation that we're going to have today on the program, simply use the hashtag 101RW, and you can tweet me directly at Eugene Anangwe, or you can tweet at 101RW. Of course, you can as well also tweet at Radio Contact FM. We'll definitely be happy to read your views in the program because we are live. My name, as always, is Eugene Anangwe. Let's get on with the day's conversation. We have none other than Mr. Denis Karera. He's the chairman of the East African Business Council. Welcome to One-on-One, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sometimes they say better late than never, right?
Yeah.
Yes, karibu sana on the program. So on the show today, we'd love to touch on the plight of those in the private sector in the East African community from the perspective of the East African Communities Business Council, and of course the conversations that have been going on the Rwanda-Kenya Business Forum. And so before we get deeper into this kind of talk, we understand that you were given this position not so long ago, and those who would love to understand how you're settling into office. So just take us through that process right now.
Right, thank you very much, Eugene. Yes, I came to office a month ago. We have a rotational process, how we come to office. Each country takes a year, and it's been rotating, and today is Rwanda's time. So I had been a vice chair representing Rwanda, and so a month ago, on the 30th of last month is when we had elections. We had our annual general assembly, and so I was elected to lead the council for a year. The council, as it were, is the apex body of the private sector in the region.
Yes.
What does that exactly mean? It means business entities and business organizations across the board, across the region, have to have avenues of putting across what they want to see happening.
Take an advocacy role.
It's an advocacy role. I was actually coming to that. So our role as Business Council really is to do advocacy for the private sector. Business, as it were, or any other activity, government or non-government, nothing ever moves smooth. There's always a challenge born out of activity 1, 2, 3. I'm quite sure in capital, in contact today, if I asked a few challenges that you have, you definitely list more than I want to listen to. But unless you start activity, then you don't register,
those problems.
But then you can't fear to start because there are issues. So you just get going, meet the issues, see what is coming up, and then address them. So we do advocacy, but business generally, I could say, in the region is going well. Council is doing lots of things to advocate for different, progresses for the businesses across the region.
Key among the issues or the parts of that you really said you want to delve into in terms of finding solutions to was the issue of the non-tariff barriers in the region, because up to today, even just on Saturday, the president himself was saying, you would wonder why we still had this non-tariff barriers along the way in the region. So how far have you been with this particular battle of clearing the way for business people in the region?
We are making progress day by day. I'll tell you about non-tariff barriers. These are things that the president yesterday said, things that you should otherwise be looking at, things that impede business, things that impede the speed of delivery of business. And you look at them and you wonder, but why do we have these in place? But some of them, of course, are a result of we all belong to old school at some point. So we keep progressing, At some point, governments used to be so involved in managing different stages of business activity.
Yes.
And then today, governments think across the board. And they're like, so why are we involved in this? Why are we involved in that? What we have overcome recently, the border crossing using an ID.
ID, yes.
That was a huge step. And all along, I can tell you, there had been arguments from certain sections of members in the region of governments saying, no, it's a security threat. The moment you let so many people go, it causes... But how is security honestly related to border crossing? People who want to cause insecurity will not use IDs anyway, or they will make sure they have IDs and then a different agenda. So that was removed. So the single tourism visa, that was removed.
But
the work permit was removed.
Yes. But we can't run away from the reality that this is not shared across the East African member states, all the five of them.
Right. That's true. I think you must have followed the ongoing things about, or progress about activities in the Northern Corridor. I think lately I've had talk about the Central Corridor also, thinking of emulating the example of the Northern Corridor. But basically the Northern Corridor is born out of, there are these good ideas which will definitely accelerate business, but then there are impediments. So people are like, why don't we, take this up quickly and sort them out? One country will say, okay, yes, let's move. Another country says, no, we are still studying the situation. So generally there was this soft argument that, those who are still studying, do the studies, but those who are willing to overcome these bottlenecks and move
along the way, they
did, and it's working. We have a single tourism visa now. We have a free. I'm not sure about you yourself, but I know for a fact you don't require. You're not taking time getting your work permit, and if you're going to renew it, it takes, I think, about hours.
Yes.
Not more than 6 hours, and it's free of charge. I guess
3 days.
3 days. Okay. I think they are doing well. You are aware, of course, that in certain countries it takes 1 year, and you may not even get.
You may not get it.
Yeah.
Let's talk of if you were to present your case.
Yes.
To the other countries that have not joined this bandwagon.
I have actually. Already.
Yes. So what did you tell them? What did you tell them?
We have spread the gospel across. We have told countries that are not yet on board, and we tell them because the business community in those countries come to us and they tell us, look here, we realize we are a bit lost. Can you please speak for us? And we do the speaking. That's the core reason we are in place. So we have been speaking to countries that are not yet on board to please, where you are lacking behind. The single tourism visa simply allows the tourists to move through the country easy. So we are speaking, we are doing a lot, but of course, spreading a message, putting out a message is one thing, but the message being absorbed and taken into action, it takes time in some countries, it takes time with some organizations, it's quick with some other organizations. So this is what we have seen. So as Business Council, we will keep up talking and talking and talking, because businesses across the country, across the region, I'm telling you, we do not want to see any delays, because delays simply means you are delaying returns on your investment, you are delaying profit where you have, where you anticipate quick reaping, and who wants to take a long time in pursuing a deal? You want to do a deal and finish it, because today I tell you, where we still have roadblocks, for example, as an NTB, roadblocks are an old thing. Why would you have roadblocks along the way?
Chairman, you want to tell me up to today we still have roadblocks?
Yes. In some countries we have roadblocks, and it was generally agreed that to facilitate business, let's remove roadblocks. For what? Because we have an electronic tracking system for our cargo anyway. So cargo leaving Mombasa is tagged, and it will be monitored right up to its destination. If it is Kampala, if it is Kigali, if it is whatever. So at least that is known.
So you wouldn't need those roadblocks.
You don't need roadblocks.
So what can the business community in the region do then?
Yes.
To enable or to put pressure on those countries or governments or institutions that do not want to move at the same pace that they really would love to? Because you say they're slowing their return.
Nothing other than talking. We have to keep talking. We have to engage. We have to engage. You have to lobby at some. Although, really, as a private sector organization, East African Business Council, we're not lobbyists. Really, we come out with the realities of what is promoting business and what is impeding business. We put our case clear, very clear. We have organs we go through. We usually ask the Secretary General of the East African community. He also has the Council of Ministers from across the region. So we put our message out usually very, very clear. So we don't tire. We will talk and talk and talk. And of course, as you know, each of the countries has its business organs, the federations of the countries, like Private Sector Federation of Rwanda, Chamber of Commerce of Uganda, and other. There are several other business structures. So we work closely with those business structures, and we ask them, do a lot more talking. Do a lot more talking. Because I tell you, some of these delays make survival for certain technocrats at certain levels. You see, there's always a reason why somebody is delaying. Yeah.
So if we know that this is the situation, then don't you feel that the talking then becomes just too much in terms of we're just talking because
but otherwise what would
at the end of the day they will still take their time because there's someone out there who wants to benefit from this.
But otherwise what do? We are not we're not necessarily a government organ. We don't belong to any government. We belong to the region. Our tool is the mouth and yourselves, the media, and what. We have to keep talking. We can't impose our position on any government. We can only talk. And we give it a bit of prayer also. So we happen to be good Christians around. But of course, it's important to notice across the region that governments and other entities around governments survive because governments are making, people in government, the private sector is making money. Why would you honestly hold back to facilitating an engine when you know too well, this is my source of income? Why would you want to slow it?
Sadly, that is what is happening.
That exactly. Now, we believe though, where we have come from and where we are today, of course you know that even the countries which form the northern corridor, Rwanda, Uganda and Kenya, initially, today Southern Sudan is on board. But you know, we had all these barriers even with us here, until our heads of states sat and said, you know what, why do we have these things? Why should the truck spend 7 days at a border crossing point? Why honestly? So you know, we had those removed, and business is moving fast today. Now, check with any Commission of Revenue Authority along the northern corridor and ask them their receipts then and their receipts today. I know for a fact, for example, I have clear information from the Katuna crossing border. Since the crossing with the NID was introduced and today, since the introduction of the single visa and today, volumes have quadrupled. You can imagine. And you're like, so what are we waiting for?
Because the question that some of the business people would ask themselves is this commitment shared, you know, the government commitment among the East African community member states? Is it a shared commitment? Or, you know, you have one government that says, okay, fine, us will remove them, yet you find another one that is reluctant. When we have such a situation, where do we leave the businessmen, apart from just saying, okay, we'll keep talking to them?
Well, we have forums, by the way, where we engage the heads of state directly. You ought to have followed that last time in May this month, the summit, the Northern Corridor Summit that was in Kigali, formally brought East African Business Council on board, the private sector on board. So we are part of the summit today. Recently when we were in Kampala last month, we were part of the summit. So today when the heads of state sit, they invite us, we sit with them. And I would say yes, it is shared. The best practices across are shared. For countries that have not absorbed it yet, taken it up, it's not lack of information. No. It's lack of some other will, and it's not my job really to delve quite into that. But the message has gotten there. The countries that are not yet on board will not claim we don't understand the benefit excuse me, of this whole thing. No. The message has gotten across. So we are part now of the Northern Corridor Summit. We are part of the largest African Community Summit, and that's to us the best forum where we engage the heads of state directly with the ministers directly.
Why didn't this take place from the onset? Why do you think you were left out all this time and have to be incorporated at this particular point?
Eugene, everything has a time. Everything. It's like asking you that why were you not born in 1943? You were born in 1960.
So it wasn't yet time.
It wasn't time for it yet.
In there.
Possibly, even on our part, even the business sector maybe had not realized that once we are facilitated, then we act quicker. Then we cut out a few other areas where people got involved in corruption, in this and that. Take another example, the awareness about tax payment. How many people actually in the past, in the last 10 years, I remember, like it was big activity, it was honorable, so to say, that somebody managed a deal or took out a deal with a tax officer. And goods were imported without, somebody sounded big, and it would be a talk of somebody in the club that, I managed to get my goods through. But yes, why do you celebrate to have managed to corrupt one tax officer? But which road are you going to use to run your truck smoothly? It's just lack of understanding. So everything comes at a time, everything comes at a particular point. There's always a reason why people are, thinking out new initiatives. But I can tell you, the way the world works today, you want to move fast, information is moving too quickly. We are all now tuned into the IT advancements. So even the thinking, I think we've decided to fine-tune our thinking today in terms of doing business.
Thinking digital. Let's talk of what the business community should expect by this fact that now you can talk or have a forum directly with the heads of states. And as you answer that, probably you could just frankly and honestly tell us the times that you are not able to do this directly. Would you face frustrations of this communication not reaching the heads of state directly, and what is now going to be different in this situation?
Well, I mean, you cannot imagine, Eugene, activity ABC happening in your presence and activities ABCD happening with somebody on your behalf. It doesn't work the same way. Yes, we had results, by the way. I should not play down the feedback that we got. We used to have results, but both ways. From the leadership in these countries themselves sat down and said, but why do we discuss and make decisions for these people and they are out there and they're not here? Why don't we engage them directly? And on our part as well, so we said, but why do we go through? You've gone through the things, you know these letters, writing through.
Yes.
So you have to wait for the through. So if at the through point things change or things delay, you're not even aware. So definitely what we should expect today, just to answer your question straight, we should expect more accelerated mechanisms of doing business. Absolutely. There is direct engagement. There are summits that we have been to, and those that we are going to attend. Today we are expecting the upcoming summit in August. And believe me not, the heads of state, we asked them last time in Kampala, the time you've given us is too short. We have a couple of issues. We want to do better. There's all these Northern Corridor projects. The standard gauge railway, Kenya to Rwanda, there's the oil pipeline, there's the power, Now, these things are serious jobs around. And so we asked them in Kampala, we said, you know what, next time, give us a whole day. We want a whole day with you.
So you sit down with them
we sit the whole day, not just minutes, not simply speeches, but practical examples, practical challenges. We discuss them, get definitive positions, go back home with it, and then we engage in business. So you can see the ground is getting better and better and better.
Are you able to put them to task, like individual presidents?
Yes, we do.
That what your country is affecting us in this particular...
Yes, we do, absolutely. Yeah, we are part of the Interministerial Council that precedes the summit. We are part of that. We have our time to engage. we have our platform as the regional business grouping. We first engage between ourselves and look at the issues in each of the countries. So we identify where do we have the challenges, what do we present today, what do we want to achieve on this one. And it's working extremely well, I can tell you. The engagement is direct, so we sit with the ministers and then we sit with the heads of state. Any minister presentation, trust, we have mechanisms now of reporting straight. No, here is what we agreed, but on the ground, what's happening is different. So we are moving.
And someone might argue and say, okay, then you see the council is toothless. Their work is just, they can just disagree and agree and say this. Would you take these comments lightly? Someone says, okay, these ones, they have no authority. They'll just report, complain, meet and talk.
But it all depends on the individual understanding of the person raising such a comment. How else would a person want us to perform? And let's say we become a government organ and we are empowered to a certain level that you do this, if not, then you close this, or that. We don't want to do that. That's the role of government. We don't want to take over a government role. Let governments do their job. But I can tell you, who is not interested in us succeeding? Governments today are more interested in us succeeding as business people, because then the receipts are more in the treasury with the revenue authority. Trust me. So anybody labeling us toothless, I think would be misplacement of thinking or short-sightedness of sorts, because we do not leave out any issue, I'm telling you. We leave no stone unturned. We ask our business community through the federations in different countries, what are the exact challenges? And look at the things we have been able to put across.
Let's talk of those stones. Let's talk of those stones that you've been able to turn so far. What are they? That you turned and you had results immediately.
Take the easiest. As a Kenyan, how long did it take you to work in Rwanda? How long did it take you initially to get a work permit? How much money were you paying for the work permit? And do you think it just came?
All this was a result of the business.
Absolutely. Council. Do you think somebody made a call and a work permit? No, we put our case straight. We built our case straight and put it across to the summit and said, look here, we take long processing a work permit. But how much money do you make from this man or woman if you accept him to come to the country quicker? Even the time he's following up with the business, the work permit,
he can continue working.
No, he's staying in some hotel. He's doing some spending. So he's here. So there was clear. We put our case very clear too, and it was quickly noticed that the quicker you process a work permit or so and so, then the quicker you get the services of this person, and the quicker you get returns from him. So that was a clear case. The border crossing using IDs, it didn't just come. No. We sat down and presented a case, business case. If you allow people, because it took so long to get a passport, it required so much paperwork to get a passport. Unlike an ID, you can cross the border even with your driving permit if you forgot your identity card. Now, look at the volumes. Each time, assuming you forgot your ID, or rather your passport, or it's not yet out in Kigali and you are in Byumba, or you are in Busia and you want to cross to Kampala, all you need is your driving permit, rush and do business and come back. Each trip, believe me, each business trip, 5-4 miles across, involves some level of spending, and this is what we need. Business is about spending.
Business is about spending, and you mentioned
earning, of course,
and return on investment. You mentioned those stones, and of course you say that credit has to be given where it's due. Do you feel then that probably there is misinformation on the part of some of the members of the public, or those who eat the fruits of this particular job or effort that you do, in terms of knowing that indeed these are the guys who deserve this credit? Do you feel that you never get this particular credit for these jobs that you do? As a council,
first of all, we don't work to get credit. No. We work to promote business. And in our clear assessment, businesses are progressing. To us, we're not waiting for anybody to give us credit. To us, if I say, Eugene, leave Nairobi, come to Kigali, get your work permit in 3 days, or cross the border with your ID. I'm done. I'm good. The credit really is more to business than to us as council. And council's job is what? We are representatives of you guys in business. So if for example, you don't bring out the issues that Contact FM is facing across the region. I don't know if you're broadcasting in other countries in the region. And I would ask you, why aren't you broadcasting today in Kampala, in Nairobi? Why don't you do so?
So you'd love to know those problems and then advocate.
Exactly. Then I know that, okay, the people who control, what do you call it, your frequencies, transmissions and frequencies in Kampala have objected to our activity in Kampala. So then I want to learn that from you.
So do you feel that probably some business people fail to fully utilize the council?
To some extent they do. I think they use us to a certain extent, but as it were, I can share this with you very openly. We need more awareness to our business communities. And it should go down completely to the mid-level businesses, the small-scale business operators there, the informal sector.
Who should do this awareness? Who should do this awareness?
We do that. The country federations, the country business federations, the private sector federations in different countries. We engage them, of course. We sit with them. In fact, as a matter of fact, we recommended that every chief executive officer of a national private sector federation should necessarily be a board member of the regional business council, so that there's that linkage between the national chapter, we call it chapters, between the national chapter and the regional body. There's that linkage, so that people down the districts in every country understand the role of so if somebody, trust me, somebody will sit down in Changugu and will not understand how best business council is going to
help them.
Exactly. So we need this awareness. We need the awareness of the media. We need the awareness of, So national chapters do that, and on the regional level, we pick whatever issues have been raised. So really, to me, I would send a message through you. It's a call to everybody that these organs exist, and the one reason that business council for the region, federations in the countries, the one reason we are in existence is that we sort the issues of the business community, and so we become relevant.
Yes. So in the case where someone does not see an aggressive awareness campaign on the role of the business council and how the council can assist them, we should point a finger to the national chapters.
Absolutely.
The people in charge of the national chapters.
Absolutely, because every national chapter has a director of advocacy. In Rwanda Private Sector Federation, down here, there's a gentleman, and his job is nothing other than director of advocacy. He should have reached here, I'm sure. He should have asked you what are the issues, or vice versa. You guys should have asked the chairman of the federation, we have an issue. We want to broadcast in City X, in Kisumu. Contact FM wants to broadcast in Kisumu. We're not yet there. We have an issue. So the director of advocacy should do a lot in understanding what are the challenges, what is working, what is not working. I mean, clearly we should address what is not working, but for what is working, then we also enjoy the fruits.
Promote that more.
Right.
Let's talk of the projects that the region is currently doing, like in the Northern Corridor. You've talked of them. You've said the railway. You've talked about the power and
the pipeline.
Yes, the pipeline.
Yeah.
Some people have argued and said, look, the region seems to be biting more than it can chew at the same time, and then some have even advised the heads of states that are involved in these projects that, listen, can we focus on one or two, finish it completely, then go to another one? Do you feel the same as a person from the business community?
Absolutely no. I'll tell you, there will be different interests out here. Each time you get a view like that one, the governments are taking more than they can bite. You ask, take a bit of time to understand, why are you saying that? Why do you think so? What is bigger than the region, I'm telling you, will be sorted some other way. But I don't see a situation where we say we are taking on more. Because what will get us to where we want to be, the desired stage of business, for example, today, we want faster transport and quicker transport. Tell me, how do you achieve that without having a standard gauge railway in place quickly, even if it is on loan? Get it in place quickly. Get it in place. Look at a pipeline. How much of the oil needs do we need to move from one point to another? Look at the power. Today's cost of doing business in Rwanda, for example, you know, it's been mentioned several times. Cost of doing business is high because power is expensive. So I would actually say the reverse. People saying we are taking on too much. I think it's been long away to have these projects done. I know there might be financial challenges to getting these projects done, but of course country governments will go out to do some borrowing. But even before the borrowing, actually, I'll share this with you. We have the last summit in Kampala. We engaged the heads of state and we told them, look here, we want a specific local content in all these projects. For example, projects to do with ICT. We said we don't need any foreign involvement. We in the region can do that. We can take that on and complete 100%.
Can we?
Oh yes, we can. More than that, we could actually export IT experts to other countries. We are that far. On certain other projects, for example, on the railway, we might say, okay, governments give us 50%, then the foreign content becomes 50%. Those we can do. Yes, because I mean, what is involved? The railway will need steel. The railway, you need steel, you need cement, you need aggregate, you need transport. And
the region can provide
these are things we can provide. We provide a lot of steel. So those are some of, in some of these projects, yes, to an extent, there will be the foreign component, but the region, I think, we have pressed for a certain local content, which was guaranteed, by the way. When we meet now in Nairobi in August, we are going to be telling our heads of state concrete figures. That's the extent we've gone.
So you will play the watchdog role of ensuring that this is done, because at the end of the day, the common mwananchi also needs to understand and also feel that this has been followed. That why is my production of this raw material X that they can use in this project is not being used, and yet they said they will give us that job. So how are they going to be able to understand that that has been followed?
Again, it goes back to what I said earlier, the national federations. National federations today, I think, as we get into high gear with these projects, the federation should mobilize their business communities
and tell them these are opportunities.
These are the opportunities now. I mean, take an example, the railway. You've traveled by train, I'm sure.
Yes.
You've known several train stations. Imagine a train is going to leave Nairobi or Mombasa and will be docking in Kigali. How many stopovers will be built along the way? How much activity, if you recall, at any train stopover, there's at least 5 shops. There's a few sales with some hotels. There's activity going on. Who is going to do that? It's the local people. So to me, people engaged in microfinancing should be now looking far to understand, the railway is going to go through our district. Okay, so there's a stopover. Let's put up this. Let our cooperative arrange for this small hotel, for this, So for the men, for the women, there's activity, there are opportunities. These projects, I tell you, do not simply solve the one factor that if it is power, for example, or if it is a train that you are those who are going to Mombasa or Nairobi from Kigali are sorted in terms of transport only. No. Even all those along the way, those who sell water along the way, those who sell tickets, all these things.
The hawkers.
There are opportunities. I'm telling you, there's enormous opportunities that is coming along with these projects, and we should mobilize our private sector, our informal sector, to get involved in this. It's worth coming.
Definitely.
Yeah.
When we return, we'll be talking more about those opportunities, and of course, we're touching base on the just concluded Rwanda-Kenya Business Forum.
Right.
Of course, when it comes to opportunities, we understand understand Kenya is definitely one of the biggest investors in Rwanda. And how can we ensure that the locals as well are able to take advantage of these opportunities? When we return, just stay with us. We're coming back after this very short break. You can definitely join the conversation. Use the hashtag 101RW. You can tweet me directly at Eugene Anangwe, or you can tweet at 101RW. We would love to read some of your comments on these opportunities and challenges, plus of course the achievements that have been made in the East African community's private sector. My guest in studio is the chairperson of the East African Business Council. Do stay with us. We are back in a moment.
One-on-one on Contact with Eugene Anangwe is brought to you by Tigo.
Hi, my name is Eugene Anangwe. Join me each and every Sunday from 2 p.m. as I host Rwanda's biggest talk show, One-on-One. It's about digging for the answers.
Which institution then do you feel is probably failing?
Business class launch.
None. We cannot.
How can you say none and we're still seeing some of these products in the market?
The controversies.
When people say, man, you sound like Joe, I don't think I do sound like Joe. I sound like Frank Rukundo.
Exactly. That is what I'm saying. I can't put it out there. I cannot put these guys' names. But
who do you look up to in this industry in Rwanda, and you think that one?
I look up to myself, and I've managed to put myself out of many.
If you go there and then stay there, so what I'm looking for there.
So what do you think about those artists actually who left and never came back?
I don't understand them. Yeah, man.
The tough questions.
The results.
So how long have you been advocating, and when are you anticipating for results?
Let me not say how long.
Or are you able to report on disqualification of Rwanda by CAF?
No.
Of course, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's me.
But there are those who feel like it's not you. You are acting like someone else. One-on-One every Sunday from 2 p.m. with me, Eugene Anangwe.
One-on-One with Eugene Anangwe at these times on Contact FM.
One-on-one on Contact with Eugene Anangwe is brought to you by Tigo.
And welcome back. Thank you so much for choosing 89.7 Contact FM. And of course, for those who are watching us right about now, we want to say a big thank you for being a part of One-on-One. We are proudly powered by Tigo. And of course, before we went for the break, Chairman Denis was actually sharing with us some of the responsibilities that they have at the East African Business Council. And we would love to look at the issue of the forum that just ended.
Right.
First of all, we wanted to at least bring together the Kenyan business community and the Rwandan business community and have a forum to talk about some of the challenges, the achievements, and of course, the priority areas that we'd love to look at. Do you feel that the forum achieved its purpose based on some of the conversations that were there, the expectations that we had when the forum was being announced, and of course as it came to an end? Do you feel we achieved our purpose?
Yes, we did. But let me make this clear. Forum achievements of forums are not like your touch of the button of your computer. Like it happened yesterday, results achieved, and we are going. The chapter is closed. No. It's always a process. What we were addressing yesterday, and it started way back, by the way. It started in May when the Kenyan business community, the Chamber of Commerce, invited our president to discuss ways of promoting business between the two countries. And they wanted also to learn the best practices. I know one of the messages that was put across from Nairobi was that, Your Excellency, tell us what are the success points, or rather what are your sources of success, because we work as much, but we don't get the same results.
Yes.
What is it that you do that we don't do, or what is it that we do wrong you would like to see us do right? Okay, these were general questions to for people in business. We always want to progress. Of course, we want to learn the best practices. You want to pick the best examples. And so, for the head of state, I mean, he wouldn't provide, say, Dennis, go and be my monitor and teach them how to do things. No. The best thing is bring my people, put them together with ours and work together. In any case, we don't, even us in Rwanda here, we don't claim 100% of best performance. No. There are areas where we are weak. There are areas where we are strong. Same as in Kenya, there are areas where they were weak, there are areas where we are strong. So what happened yesterday is that we met our colleagues in the business community. Of course, we know the Kenyan economy is much stronger than ours. People have been in business for several years, 40, 50 years. You're speaking to companies established 50 years ago, 40 years ago. Our private sector, so to say, is young, is fairly young. Young in ideas, but very sharp ideas, of course, the new ideas that all of you guys have today. So what we did yesterday was to examine how can we engage more, how can we work together. Identification of specific projects by different companies. We are looking at opportunities. We shared the opportunities that exist in Rwanda. We were invited, by the way, we're going to be in Nairobi September, I think around the 10th or something, when the Chamber of Commerce of Kenya turns 50. We're going to be there. So now we've started this partnership. The partnership. And the whole idea is to examine what can I do with this colleague identified yesterday in Kenya. Common practice today in most of these forums, business forums, is something called B2B, business to business talking. Through these forums, I mean, you share the generic picture of how things are, the opportunities. Rwanda Development Board was briefing us yesterday on the opportunities available here. And then beyond that, now you see how many Kenyan investors are looking at opportunities in Rwanda. Can they partner with those of us in Rwanda who want to go along with them? And then we're also going to, of course, to be looking at what is on the other side of what is available in Kenya that we could get involved in. So we did that. It was a good forum, absolutely a good forum. We were graced by the president, who we asked, actually, the Chamber of Commerce had asked him to be a patron of the Kenya Rwanda Business Forum. And he happily said, fine, I'll be with you. So we want to try and work together now. We want to forge partnerships. We want to, see investments both sides of the borders. So that's what we agreed. I would say the forum achieved its objective clearly. People need to know each other.
And there are those who feel that this was long overdue. I mean, putting up such an idea, such a concept was long overdue. Why did we have to then wait up to this time?
It's like all those other things we were saying earlier. Why was Eugene born in 1965, not in 1960? So initiatives, the thinking around the region becomes bigger. These Northern Corridor projects today have stimulated the level of thinking between us. And we are like, okay, these are shared projects. They should not be a monopoly of one country. If one country is sleeping, businessmen and women from another country will take over all the opportunities. So we are like, okay, let's rise the opportunity, all of us. And so we are going to be discussing more. As I said earlier, there are lots of opportunities that have come along with these projects. And we are going to be looking out. We listened to an excellent presentation yesterday from Mr. Mwangi, the founder of Equity Bank. And he's telling you there's money available. People think around how to use this money. We have the money, but we want people to take it up. So I would love to see, from the position of Business Council, I'd like to see Contact FM seeking to expand your studio and going to engage Equity Bank with an opportunity. So so there are opportunities that come along with these projects. And by the way, we need to think beyond. We need to think broad. We need to think big. Today, I cannot imagine that you guys, for example, in broadcasting, may be wondering that, okay, in these projects, how do we make money? I want to imagine it's one of how do we make money in the Northern Corridor projects? But who is sensitizing our public about these projects? I usually listen to our FM radios every morning at different times. There's a time you only listen to football. and people are discussing or telling you all these English names.
Chairman, we love football.
I know.
Who doesn't love soccer?
But I'm sure you love money more than football. You want to get money first, football next. But listen to the talk between 10 and 11 and up to midday.
So you want us to now sensitize
James Barton moved from this team to this team.
And the coach X is paid this million.
Oh yeah. And this so and so was bought at this million. How useful is that going to help an ordinary runner businessman? How will it improve Contact FM? Honestly, you're talking about footballers. But tell me, if you go out now to educate the public that, you know what, guys between Mirama Hills, for example, or between Kasese in Uganda and Nyagatare in Rwanda, there's going to be a train running between these points. Where it is going to pass, we are going to have so many stopovers. Can we guys get together? Can we form a cooperative to actually position ourselves for the train station and who will be serving this, who will be attending to this?
Chairman, they'll tell you that's your job. The Business Council needs to do that communication, not us.
The communication that I do, Eugene, is I can only give you the message. I'll give out the message. I may not be able to reach out to every person. I'll give a message to the federations. I'll give a message to the media. To me, rather than tell my locals in our Rwandan locals down in the village in Nyagatare which British boy moved from which team to which team, I'd rather tell him or her that there's an opportunity of investing in a small market of juice and what at the train station. I think that makes more sense to me. It makes a lot of business sense. So even you guys in your different businesses, let's try and fine tune our thinking and link the different services that we do to these opportunities.
I think, Chairman, what the media needs today, if I'm not wrong, this is from the perspective as Contact as well, is media also needs partnership with institutions like yours, with private sector, with government.
Absolutely.
Partnerships in passing this communication.
Like I have not seen, Eugene, for example.
It should not be like a blame game of, or pushing of roles that you need to be telling them, but they need financing to be able to pay that electricity, to pay that person to sit behind that microphone to pass this communication. And they feel that institutions like yours and the private sector federation, which plays the advocacy role, is not investing in the media to pass this communication.
Well, let me first of all say I wouldn't call it a blame game, but I would only say it's a challenge now in you guys. Trust me, since the time Northern Agredo projects have been talked about, the several meetings that we have attended, I have not, I'm glad, I don't know how you picked the idea today. I have not received this group of the media telling me, oh, Chairman, educate us on the opportunities that exist in these things, the actual business opportunities. Can we even have a list of what business opportunities exist? So where can we come in now? So that Chairman does his role. Okay, under the pipeline, there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are business opportunities. Guys, look at where you can come in. I have not seen this. You are the first one to call me today, talk about it. I do not know if the media, for example, find it more useful, talk about football of, which man moved from which team to which team, than knowing business opportunities that exist within the East African region. So it's a challenge.
It's a matter of priorities.
It's about not even priorities really. To me, I think you are in this activity because you want to make a living. You want to make money of it, either through a salary or through an allowance or through a bonus of sorts. So where do you make it? Advertising football more or advertising business opportunities around the region? Why? Where does your mom, your auntie down in the village, where does she gain? Through knowing which player was bought at how much? And by the way, at the risk of being blamed as non-supporter of football, I like football.
Chairman,
I'm only looking at
football.
what makes. I mean, there's lots of other things that I usually listen to on radio, and I'm like, excuse me,
wastage of airtime.
Wasn't there something more useful to talk about? There's a program called in some of the radios I hear, like the Talk of Town, the whisper, gossip, which story is moving from which, and you're like, so how beneficial is this to the individual broadcasting this, to the radio, to the to me, there are opportunities, there are more interesting things, but people don't think beyond the ordinary. No.
We need to think beyond.
Exactly.
Think outside the box. Like
think out of the box.
Doesn't exist.
Come and bother us. I'm telling you, come and bother us. Today, our secretariat is in Arusha. We have worked now. By the way, let me tell you also that the governments, the head of state the other day established the Northern Corridor Authority. Each country has a coordinator for the Northern Corridor projects. Don't be surprised that some of your colleagues do not even know the entire detail of these projects.
Is it their mistake, Chairman?
I think so.
Is it their problem?
Yeah.
Because this is where now...
You must be curious. You must be able to find out. When you hear that there was a summit in Kigali, you must find out.
But you also have a communication department.
Of course we do. We have
so if this communication doesn't trickle down from your institution to these journalists, who's to blame then?
No, we know, Eugene. We do. We know, and we have a communications officer, and he is always writing, bombarding the internet, bombarding our website. Let me ask you, how many of you guys have visited our website to know what is happening?
Maybe they
you
don't
may not even know that.
Maybe they don't know it exists.
This is it. So we are there to be bothered. Bother us. Ask what is happening.
And if we don't bother you,
if we don't, well, we will do our part. We will definitely get our officer to do our part, but we may not reach wherever. So ourselves, the federations in different countries are doing their part, but people should also rise to the opportunity. Yes, people should be inquisitive. In today's world, I mean, you can't sit back and say, okay,
I'm waiting for chairman to tell me.
No, don't wait for chairman. Instead, go to chairman and bother him with chairman. I would like to be going this direction with trade, but I have a barrier somewhere. I'm establishing my business in Kisumu and I'm Rwandan, and I have sleepless nights from, either department XYZ.
I need your assistant or
I need
information.
Now that's what but you don't want me to, or don't expect me to think for you. Say, Eugene, hey, you know what? Go down to Ngoma in Chibungo district and start up a business. Then if you come across a problem, then I'll come to help you. Hey, I can't just press.
It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. You take the lead. Let me know what challenge you're facing. Let me come and back you up, and carry a message of your concern to whichever ministry, to whichever department. Then we get it sorted and people move.
So this is a typical problem of most business people and the society here. Let's talk of the elephant in the room, and that is the issue of why aren't we seeing the same volumes of business investments from Rwanda in Kenya? I'm being very practical in terms of the statistics that came out of Kenya being one of the biggest investors in Rwanda. Why are we not seeing the same numbers of Rwandan investors going to set up banks, or hotel industries, supermarkets? What's the issue? Where's the problem?
Eugene, I want to believe you picked my question yesterday. I think it's a copy paste, because that was my question I asked my community yesterday here. This is what we would love to see. We have not seen it happen. We have seen more. I mean, as it were, of course, we know that Kenyans or Kenyan business people have more money than we have. They're more established in business than we have. They've been there for long. Our private sector is young. But we are rising to the challenge. Yesterday, as a matter of fact, we discussed that specific issue. And my question to the team was, we don't see similar movement. Rwanda has
what answers did they give you?
On the receiving end, we receive investors and all sorts of
and
professionals. We don't give as many. Either, I don't have specific answer, to be honest.
They didn't answer you?
Well, people said we are going to start, but I think people needed to understand, is the business environment okay, good enough for me to go and start a business in Kenya? And we got assurance from the permanent secretary yesterday of the East African community, from the Ministry of East African community in Kenya. The PS said very clear, we are looking out for Rwandese startup businesses in Nairobi, in Kisumu, in Mombasa. Where are you? So we should rise to the call. He made an open call yesterday. So that's how things work. These are the fruits we are reaping from the some of these forums that take place. So the Rwandan community, I know for a fact, has not invested as much. But again, we ask ourselves, why? What are we waiting for? A referee to blow the whistle and then say, go today.
None of them has come to your office to knock and tell you this is why we are not starting.
By the way, just for information, there's a few Rwandese who do business in Kenya.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a couple of them who do. But we would like to see much more.
Much more.
Yeah, exactly. We would like to see much more. There are people in clearing. They would want to establish more in Mombasa or the port and do much more. There are people in the fast-moving goods. There are people in... But all I would say is we haven't had similar numbers moving the other side. We have seen more Kenyans coming here. Yes, as it were, Kenya has more professionals, but it can export labor, in different areas, in different sectors. But we should, by now, be looking at Rwanda also anxiously looking at, hey, job opportunities across the border. Yeah, so it's our job now to encourage our people to go there. It's even me and others, we should now be looking at opportunities in Nairobi, in Mombasa, in Nakuru, in Nyeri, everywhere. We should take these opportunities up.
There's none so far that you're looking at?
Personally, I am intervention with Kenyans today. We've done some work in Kigali, and we are looking at some project in Meru, deep in Meru, it's near the mountain. And I'm interested definitely in exploring opportunities there.
Okay.
Yeah.
The actual bullet of my question, Chairman, and I don't want you to dodge it more, is none of them has told you what challenges or what stops them or what makes them not to be as aggressive to go and invest back in
some of them. I'll be honest with you, I know some of them that I've spoken to have told me, look here, we had a language barrier, for example, cultural differences, we don't know how to live, but these were shared. Cultural differences, believe me, even Kenyans had culture shocks coming here. I don't know how easy you found it settling in Kigali. The language was a barrier, this and that. But these are things that we've chosen to overcome as a private sector or as a people. Forget about the private sector, even government sector. You can't hook up yourself in language X that I'm so and so. Because for us, businesses have no language. Cash, the money, the cash economy.
That's the language.
The money has no language. Believe me, every francophone or what, you ask him, how much money is this? He will tell you this is so much money. So regardless of language. So you're like, if you know the amount of money, how do we do business in China? None of us speaks Chinese. Very few of us speak Chinese. Look at the volume of business that goes on with China. In China, when most of us are in China, you find the mode of communication, one way or the other. When things are so difficult, you have no interpreter, you use a calculator, because numbers are numbers.
Numbers are numbers.
You point at what you want. I want this item, I want this loudspeaker.
And you click.
Then you click. How much?
And you pay.
Then you do your signals, If you're reducing, you could do this, down. Then he will tell you up, signals.
And you will understand each other.
Yeah. Look at this. So there was talk of people saying the language barrier, but I mean the language like Swahili, who doesn't speak Swahili today in Rwanda in business community? Most of them do. So I think it's a bit of encouragement that they need to be given. It's a bit of assurance that look here, communities are all together now. Each other day today in Kigali here, I see one Kenyan inviting me to a wedding in Rwanda. And I mean, people have
becoming one integration
and proper integration.
Yes, and I loved the comment by the president when he said, if you're from East Africa and you're living in Rwanda, you should not consider yourself a foreigner.
Yeah, exactly. So we need to encourage people.
Let's talk of electioneering processes and the business community, because this always affects several businesses in the East African community. Most of the time, realistically speaking, during electioneering processes, you'd find businesses being skeptical. If they had planned to do an investment, they'd say, okay, let's hold on and wait until the elections are done. And this question is leading me to Burundi. Whatever is happening in Burundi today, and I know as an East African Business Council, you also advocate for the business people who are operating in Burundi. How can we have a permanent solution that whether elections or no elections, businesses will never be affected?
Believe me, Eugene, there's no way unstable political situations, an insecure political setup, there's no way it will not affect business. No way. It will affect running business. It will affect the investment spirit, it's the investment effort, the investment thinking. It can't. I mean, in any situation that is politically unstable, do you want to put your money there? Of course, let's also differentiate between trade and investment. There's the ordinary trade going on, usually by the fluid situations of that nature. In some cases, Somalia, where you tend to make it easy for trade this and this, pick your money for the day and grab it. But is that what we want to see? Investment, believe me, you want to see a proper, stable political environment. If it is not, you don't put money in the soil. You don't. You want to sow where you will reap. So unstable political situations are a concern to us. The people in Burundi, to be honest, I am concerned as their chair. Currently, I know business is not flowing as easy. I also know that the business operators from other countries, from Kenya, from Rwanda, from Tanzania, say transporters, for example, who normally transported items from point A to the last point in Burundi and back. I mean, everybody thinks twice today. Do I risk my truck, or it might meet demonstrators on the way? So you want to, suggest, drop the item, go and make a stop point in Rwanda and return. So it is affecting business, believe me. And there's no way today you possibly attract anybody to come to invest in that kind of situation. Everybody said, wait a minute, let's see
how things
turn out, and then you invest. And I would understand any investor
for things like that,
regional or foreigner. Even me, Dennis, I can't put my money in a situation that I think is not stable, because how am I going to get this money back? Most of the investments that we make, as you know, are large scale. Usually not your personal money from your even if it was personal, by the way, you want to put it where you're sure. So the risks are as minimal as can be possible.
So the buck stops with the governments to ensure stability.
Our call, we have made a call. Honestly, we have made a call to the regional heads of state. We've made a call that we are concerned. We are not doing business easily. The flow of business is affected. Our business operators are worried, are concerned. It affects investment. Let me tell you, I have had several questions from business blocs in Asia and Europe. They have been calling me and asking me, how easy is it to do business in Rwanda today? Can we look at the future and say, yeah, sure. But how far is it from Burundi? Some of these distant people sometimes don't even understand the distances. And I'm like, but how is that connected to what you're asking me? He said, no, we think what is happening in Burundi from what we have read might affect our business in Rwanda. Is that? Do you see that happening? And I've had to go, out of my way and say, no. These are two different countries. Distance, okay, even if we are short in distance, but each runs its own program,
with their own different governments,
different agenda, different everything. And trust me, your businesses will be, they are safe, they are secure. But these questions come across,
Yes, and then you said earlier on, now you have an opportunity to directly, address your issues and your concerns to the heads of state of the region. Assuming today you had an opportunity to address the president of Burundi on behalf of the business community, what would you tell him?
I would tell him the business community would be more than happy to have a stable political environment in which we can operate very easily and very smoothly and very steadily and without any scare. That would be my call to him. Whatever means he uses is not my business. But if he can guarantee, if he could avail a situation in which we can trade very easily, super for us.
All right.
That would be my call.
In closing, Chairman, which way forward? The meeting happened, the forum took place. We have had a very good conversation here on the show. But so that we answer the questions of those who say, you know what, this kind of forums, this kind of discussions are always like a talking shop. And once we go back to our homes, once we go back to our offices, it's business as usual. We still have the problems. We still have the non-tariff barriers. We still have governments which do not want to offer environments that will favor the business community and also favor them, because you say it's a coexistence.
Right.
What do we do then? How do we ensure that it's not business as usual when we go back home?
When we go back home, I tell you, it's like It's like lighting a fire in dry pastures. This is what is happening. A fire lit on because what we were discussing from yesterday with the Kenyans, what we discussed with the Ugandan. There's a Rwanda-Uganda Business Forum, by the way. There are all these regional and bilateral forums that we see happening. It's all about individuals, empowering individuals in their businesses. Ultimately, it trickles down to one thing. It's about making money. It's about making money, believe me. Who doesn't want it? So I can guarantee you, we are now going to see, from what I see, the heat that was generated yesterday, the appetite for business that I witnessed yesterday. People want to make money. People want to progress in business. I think I see a very positive move towards now, working together more, exploring the opportunities more, forging bigger partnerships. So I don't see this going back. If it were not for a profit, I would be worried to say, okay, maybe people are going to go back home and business as usual. But where profit is concerned, believe me, the next few flights, I'm sure you'll be seeing people. You should have been there yesterday to see the exchange of business cards and taking of notes. Kumbe, what do you do? You're in fruit production and agriculture. Kumbe, how are you doing things here? So this is what we'd like to see. So possibly me and you should do an evaluation, take stock of what happened between now and the next forum in September in Nairobi. Take stock and see. I'll be happy to come and share with you here what went on from now to September when we meet next. What has worked between who and how is So I don't see this going back right here.
Thank you so much, Harold, for your time.
Okay.
And rest assured, we'll be knocking those doors.
Knock them.
We will be there. Thank you so much for your time, Asante Sana.
All right,
for being on the show. Thank you so much. There you have it. The one-on-one comes to an end on that particular note. Use the hashtag 101RW. Let's keep this conversation going on. As a business person out there, if you have watched or you have listened to the show, what are some of the concerns that you have? What are some of the contributions that you can make to solve those problems? And what opportunities have you seen? And what are you waiting to take advantage of those opportunities? These are some of the conversations or tough questions you need to be asking yourself. Chairman says the fire was lit on some dry grass. And of course, the appetite for business is now on. Are you going to be left out, or are you going to be part of those opportunities that people will be taking advantage of? Those, again, are your questions, and you have the answers. We'll see you again right here on One-on-One. My name, as always, is Eugene Anangwe. Goodbye for now.
One-on-One on Contact with Eugene Anangwe is brought to you by Tigo.